All right, now we're going to look at guillotines from side control and mount. We looked at finishing mechanics from side control and mounts. So we're just going to look at the few setups that we can have from side control and mount. And there's only a couple of them because there's not many for mount. So I'm just not splitting into two sections. I'm just doing side control and mount together. So we're going to look at our partner coming up towards us from side control, looking to go in, lock from side control, and then how we can go from there. And then if our partner does sit up and expose the guillotine from mount, how we can lock in some rare guillotines that are rare, but you can hit them from mounted position, and then go into finishes off of those. All right, so now we're going to look at some guillotine options. My partner goes to come up towards me from a bottom side control. That's going to be very similar to half guard, except for the fact that we're already past our partner's legs, so we can finish our partner or move into mounted position much more easily from here because of the fact that we're starting in side control rather than half guard. But you always see scenarios where we have a top-headed arm. Our partner does a good job of bridging this arm underneath. She goes through, she punches it underneath the arm, and now she punches and hikes the underhook up. Right from here, as my partner goes to lock up and she goes to move into an underhook scenario and come up towards me, we're just going to take a whizzer in place. Now, what she wants from here is she wants to get her head underneath my chest. If she can scoot her head down and raise the underhook up, she can start building up to her knees. And now there's no guillotine available, especially when, come back, go down, especially when she takes her hand down to my buttocks, my butt with this hand, from here. And now as I go to start locking guillotine, her head is in the right position. And as she goes to start moving down towards my legs and coming up, she's shucking my hand down to the floor, so she's putting weight towards me in this position. And as I go to lock the guillotine, she goes to come up, and then she puts my hand on the floor. Now, I lose everything from here, okay? So right away, as my partner goes to come up, if I feel like she's going to come up and I'm going to miss her from here, the first thing I want is I want her to labor her ability to come up. I don't want her to come up as fast as she wants to. And I want her to be able to off-balance me in this direction and put her head underneath my chest. What I want is I want to start moving towards my partner's hips. So I take my head and my chin, I look to bring it towards my partner's elbow. Now, somewhat explosive, this won't stop your partner from coming up. But as she goes to get up from here, it'll be a lot more labored. And right now, there's no weight over my left hand. Right now, her head is under my armpit. If her head is under my chest, there's no guillotine from here. If her head is under my armpit, it's in perfect position to go in and lock guillotines. So from here, the second I see my partner go to punch that underhook in, and I feel like I'm gonna be beaten, I immediately take my chin and I just cover my partner's elbow. If my chin does not cover my partner's elbow and she goes to get up, this will always happen. If my chin covers my partner's elbow and she goes to get up, good. This will always happen. And now from here, you either have the choice of going into front headlock, if she gets up to turtle position and doesn't allow you to connect the hips. You set the hands properly right away from here, okay? Because she's not going to have defensive hands from here because you have an arming guillotine, but she has no defensive hands with this hand, and she's a prop up on the elbow, so she has no defensive hand with that hand. So there's no defensive hands from here. So all you have to focus on is setting the hands right, so that right away, right from here, if she comes up, you're in front head. If she drives towards you, you're in guard. If she falls back down to the floor, come back up. If she falls back down to the floor, because of the fact that she can't connect her knee and her elbow, a lot of times I can either slide over or I can take a big step and cover my partner's body like so. And now we can finish right from here. There's many different options that we can look at from here. The main thing is, this all comes from the initial setup. Second she goes to start coming up towards me, I take my chin over the elbow. Now as she goes to get up, it's very, very labored and slow. She has no defensive hands, so right from here, we move into position. Now right from here, we can slide across. We can put our partner's back down on the floor, and we can slide out and across. We can post the hand and slide out and across. We can take a big step up and over. We can cover our partner's back like so. We can move to front headlock. She gets up, sprawl. Now we're in front head and we're ready to work. If she goes to get up, I go and set the hand. She goes to get up and she drives towards me. Now we're in guard. We're ready to go. I can also allow her to think she's coming to top position. And as she goes to get up, she goes to scramble, scramble, scramble. We step into a high rest position. Now we're in guard with a high rest rather than an arm end, and we're ready to go. Okay, so there's many different options that we have from here. The main thing is, very subtle. Probably wouldn't notice it if you were watching in third person. It's very important. If the chin doesn't cover your partner's elbow, the head will be underneath the chest rather than underneath the armpit. If the head's underneath the chest, you're in poor position to lock guillotine, your hand's getting thrown to the floor, and everything falls apart. Next thing you know, your partner's up, and now you're wrestling. But if you cover that elbow, it allows you to slow your partner down from getting up. You wedge them in place long enough to get your hands in position. You can set the hands pretty easy because there's no defensive hands, and then you can choose where you want to go from there. All right, so it's rare that you see guillotines being set up for mount, but it can happen. Because most of the time your partner's head is so close to the floor, and when they bridge, of course, the head has to be on the floor. So the head coming forward and allowing your hand to fit into place, a lot of times it's very telegraphed, and you just don't have a lot of opportunities to put guillotines in place. Most of the time you're going to hit guillotines from here. It will either be one, as your partner has concave shoulders and is looking to go into a kipping position, or two, you can threaten the guillotine as the head comes off the ground slightly, not with the intention of getting the guillotine, but with the intention of defensive hands coming up so that you can isolate arms and going for underhooks from here. Okay, so you have to be able to threaten your partner from a scenario where you have them mounted, just in case. You gotta keep them honest, and if they don't respond and they don't react and they keep their head off the floor for any amount of time, you can finish your partner. So many times, my partner will be in a position where she has two hands on my hips, and she will start a kipping motion where she tries to go overhead, like so. Now from here, she will try to come out to the other side, and she'll go into a side kip where she doesn't kip overhead, but she kips out to the side like so, and the head starts to rise off the floor. As my partner tries to go overhead, first, there's no potential for guillotine. As she comes back to the other side, and she tries to go into a side kip, we move into a situation like this, where now we can wrap our hand out and around our partner's head, we can lock in a guillotine, and now we're ready to go in and start controlling our partner. Now from here, with the guillotine set, she has to start addressing the fact that she's going to get strangled from here. And she can't finish the kip now because I have such good control over the head. Now right from here, we can post the head. We can finish one-handed if we want to, where you just bring the hand up high and we move in. If she starts reaching for me, we can go arm in. We can go low elbow. We can go high elbow. We can go power guillotine. There's a bunch of different guillotines we can finish from here. The choice of what you finish is yours. Most of the time for me, if I can get the hands in position, I finish a one-handed guillotine. So I just bring the hands up high, I shrug the shoulders, I bring my chin down. So that from here, everything's tight right away. My head comes to the center line, and now it's about crunching the chin to the chest, bringing the hips in, as we spoke about before, and getting a strong finish. Okay? So this will usually come out of a situation where my partner's trying to kip out to the side, where she's pushing me in this direction, looking to go for an inside knee elbow escape after the kip is successful. And this is the perfect time to just drape my hand over my partner's head and go in for guillotines. A lot of times from here as well, if your partner does manage to get the knees inside, I don't want to end up back in guard. I don't want to end up on the knee elbow connection. This is no good for me. So right away, the second I see my partner's knees come inside, we sacrifice top position. As she goes to make the recovery, we just move into this position here, where now if she decides to follow my hips and come on top, just become onto a high wrist. If I fall in this position, and she decides to go into a shoulder roll and come up to turtle position, we come up, we follow, and now we go in and we place our high wrist game from there. So right away, if I feel like my partner actually manages to hit the side kip, she gets the knees out, and she recovers guard. Right away, we sacrifice top position, and we move to a high wrist position. Now, if she follows my hips, she comes onto guard. If she shoulder rolls or bridges, just follow her up. We're at high wrist position, and we go in and get a strong finish with the guillotine for mount or sacrificing top position and going in for the finish. Additionally, what we can look at here is, let's say for whatever reason, I try to go for the guillotine, but it's not set. My partner tucks the chin, but she has to address the hand position. A lot of times what will start happening from here is defensive hands will start coming up. So as her hands start coming up, either one, she brings the hand up here, and now this allows me to slide my left knee back to the inside position. And as the head comes out, we just punch ourselves into underhooks on this side. If she brings her primary defensive hand in, and we just lean out to the side, we punch the underhook in on this side, and we can move, say, with the guillotine, or we can move to a cross face and a top head and arm. So we can use a threat of guillotine. So as defensive hands come up, now as the head comes free, the defensive hands rise, and that allows me to punch in my underhooks on either side. We can dig an underhook, so we can use the threat of a guillotine to work now into scenarios where I can get the hands above the head, work through positional hierarchies, and then isolate limbs, go into our submission series from there. All right, so now we're going to look at attacking guillotines from the back and from back crucifix. There are great guillotines that I can hit, a lot of high-risk stuff that I'd like to choose, which you'll see in the crucifix instructional, which is a little bit in the future, where your partner tries to escape, and as they're escaping, they're bridging, they're focused on just getting it back to the floor, getting to the top position, and as they're escaping the back, as they're escaping back crucifix, they're focused on that. Guillotine comes in, and then we can use it to either, again, score another position, or, of course, finish the guillotines. All right, so there are two main positions that I set guillotines up off of when we're looking at the back and back crucifix. From the back, we're looking at underhook side escapes. So when we have, obviously, the overhook and the underhook side when we control our partner's back. My partner is on the underhook side, and she's trying to look to escape. I use this guillotine setup pretty frequently, and it's pretty successful. This will come most of the time when I feel like I'm losing my partner, usually when she starts stepping over the bottom hook. If I get into a situation where I feel like I'm going to lose my partner, I'm not going to be able to make the recovery, and I'm in jeopardy of losing the whole position. Whenever I see this, we either come over the head or we come behind the head, and we just shoot our hand through. Both work. If she's leaning forward, we come behind the head. If she's glued to me, then I go over the head. However you get there, doesn't really make a difference, either over or behind. Now, right from here, we're gonna underhook our partner's arm like so. Now, the whole thing from here is to start building height. So I take my elbow back behind my shoulder line, and I heist into this position. Once I'm heisting, now we heist up to a knee. Now I have a choice of moving into mount, like so, or what I can start doing, most of the time my partner's trying to bridge and turn towards me. If she can get her elbow to the floor and get her elbow free, now she can start coming up and potentially getting up on top of me. I still have an underhook, so it can be hard, but she can either come up on top of me, or if she clears the leg, now she can grab my arm and she can start rotating out. She can go into sort of arm drag variations. They can get kind of squirrely from here. So the second I start building height like so, we immediately are going to concave shoulder. If I just try to punch the guillotine from here, it won't work. So I concave shoulder, and I just punch my hand all the way through. Now, wherever you choose to go from here is your choice. If I feel that I can immediately just step over, now I have a great one-handed guillotine. I have a great high elbow guillotine. I have a great low elbow guillotine. I have various guillotines from here, and we just finish them out like we have been. Most of the time, because your partner wants to get to top position, she will be trying desperately to bridge her hips off the floor and face you. And as she does this, she will just come onto various forms of guillotines from here, where she ends up in guard, and now you can go in and get your score. Okay? So, when she's trying to escape the underhook side from the back, and she steps over a hook. If she steps over, go back. If she gets her back out to the floor from here, it's going to be a lot harder because now I can't get over the head. So this is when my partner's on the underhook side, and she beats you at the lower body first. Those of you who are big back attack and defense instructional watchers here. Okay? So underhook side, and she beats the legs first. From here, we just take our hand up and over or under the head, and we underhook our partner's arm. Now the whole thing is to build height. So I take my arm back. Now your partner's probably going to be trying to either scoot away from you or bridge into you from here. So if I'm just trying to build height with my elbow below my shoulder line, it won't work. So I take my elbow above my shoulder line and we build up to that power prop position. Now right from here, I bridge into my partner and I just hit a quick heist. Now as she's trying to move wherever she's going, she's worried about getting her back taken, she's worried about getting mounted. She's not worried about the guillotine. The hand's nowhere near her neck right now. So as she goes to start the scrimmage, we just place our hand in place here. And now if you can keep your partner's hips pinned and keep her belly up, we slide across into mounted position. Or we go shin mounted, we move to side control. Or she traps me in half guard and we work from there. Regardless, we start going in and using our passing positions or using our attacking positions. Okay, if she goes to start trapping me in half guard from here because it's on the wrong side, I can even just move across my partner's body, fall to bottom position, and then lock up half guard and play our special game from there. If I see, and this is more likely, we're here, and our partner tries to start getting up on top of us, we just go into position, and now we continue to concave. As she goes to get up on top, we are in perfect position for many different types of guillotines. From here, where she comes onto my hips, she traps my hips, we go into some form of guard, we connect the hips, and we get strong finishes. Okay, so that's if my partner's escaping the underhook side, and she clears the legs first. There's a very similar attack that we can go along with from a back crucifix scenario. So we have this back crucifix in like so, and I feel like I can't take my partner's back. I can't transition to various forms of triangle. There's no Yoko Senkaku, there's no Shiro Senkaku, and I need to make something start happening. So right from here, we switch from left hand control to right hand control. We punch that underhook in, we build up to that power propping position, and we just heist up to our knees like so. Now we still have control of both of our partner's arms. She tries to explode up towards me here. It's going to be difficult. She can't really turn towards me. She can't turn away from me because both of her arms are controlled by the crucifix. So I can take my time from here. When I feel the time is right and I feel she's trying to bridge and move, I just take my hand and I just wrap it around my partner's neck like so. So that now from here, we can either one, of course, drive across into mounted position. We can step over into mounted position, or if our partner goes to explode towards us, she chases our hips, we can go in, and we can go into various forms of connection with our hips and finish our partner with DTs from there. So very similar from back crucifix. Go ahead. From back crucifix, from here, we have a kimura, we have whatever kind of control that we want. We switch to an underhook. Now we build up to an elbow to start building height. We build up to our knees to start building height. And now whenever we're ready, we just overwrap and drape our arm across our partner's neck, usually when she's trying to bridge. Your partner will be trying to bridge from here, and the head will be coming up. As the chin rises, we concave the shoulders, and we move into a scenario where we can lock up guillotine. Now, wherever your partner chooses to go from this position, she comes on to strong guillotine attacks, whether it be top or bottom position, and we can get strong attacks with guillotine off of back crucifix.